All anxiety and criticisms against the delayed signing of the Electoral Amendment Act have been put to rest since President Muhammadu Buhari signed it into law last Friday. His assent has officially kick-started events leading up to the 2023 general election. Just after the president signed the Electoral Act into law, Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Muhammadu Buhari, announced dates for the presidential and National Assembly elections, governorship and state houses of assembly elections, along with other relevant information. Now, the new Electoral Act, being hailed by many, is still not without flaws, according to the president. Despite appending a signature, President Buhari said the provision in Clause 84, subsection 12 is in conflict with extant constitutional provisions and deprives 7 political office holders from voting or being voted for at conventions or congresses of any political party. He wants the National Assembly to consider immediate amendments that will bring the bill in tune with constitutionality by way of deleting Section 84.12 accordingly. The new Electoral Act states the role of the INEC, processes for the conduct of elections, use of technology, political party activities and spending, as well as other crucial areas that is believed will enhance Nigeria's electoral system. So let's talk this through by speaking with Ayodele Adewale, he's an organizing secretary of the All Progressives Congress in Lagos. Thank you so much for being on the program this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we've got our Electoral Act. What is the high point for you in all of this?
Well, the high point is deployment of technology. We've said that for us to have a very robust participation in our electoral process, technology must be brought in, and that gives a guarantee and confidence to people that their vote will definitely count. And it also will remove, hopefully, brigandages surrounding electoral activities and all of that. And of course, spending will be reduced. And INEC have also been given an opportunity to have funds 1 year before the elections. And they also have the autonomy of drawing their funds. And the political party will have longer time for their campaigns. But most importantly, issues surrounding some mishap during the electoral process that will lead to doubtful results. INEC can also have the opportunity to review it, which will reduce or remove the litigation that we will have in our various courts, and which again subvert the will of the people through the ballot, and you give the opportunity to the judiciary to pronounce whoever that won their elections. Such things would have been a thing of the past.
Yeah, so you're speaking to the judicialization of our electoral matters. Well, just like you said, the Commission has been given the power to review returns of elections within 7 days as against being the exclusive for the court. But all the same, what Nigerians are saying still is that this is Nigeria. When it comes to election, politics precisely, politicians don't behave themselves. So do you think this Electoral Act 2022 would definitely make politicians to behave in accordance to the dictates or the provisions of this new act?
Well, the fundamental to good behavior will be good laws to enshrine and ensure that everybody is put in line. Some people would say that it is highly unlawful to be lawful in an unlawful society. But when you put lawful streams in place, then the judiciary are also more empowered to making sure that things are put in place. And of course, security operatives will have lesser work to do because they have the instrumentality of the law to guide and ensure proper electoral activities. And for those who might have the thinking that they could misbehave, we also know that there's a law in place to apprehend them.
Right.
And aside from that, if you look at what happened in Kogi State, where the governor to-be died before the pronouncement of the results, it affected a lot of things in our political history. But this act have also taken care of that issue, that should in case the standard bearer of a party dies during the process of counting or announcement, the deputy automatically takes the torch and continue the race and appoint another deputy, you understand, in place. This is a very good provision that have come to stay, and it also helps people to have more assurance in our electoral process.
Well, we'll look at the reservation the president actually made before he signed, before he put pen to paper. But who do you give kudos to in terms of mounting pressure on the president? Because if you look at the open rallies, the protests by civil society groups, the media, the youth organization, human rights groups, they actually pressurize the president. So they are still saying that if not for this pressurization, I mean mounting pressure on the president, he wouldn't have signed it because of certain reservations that he made. So do you also believe this, that it's possible that he might not have signed it, though he has signed it so good, but then because he had some reservations, that could have made him not to sign it as well?
Well, I'll take it from another angle. You did say that the president had reservation. The president is a Nigerian. He also is an interested party in making sure that we have good document for our electoral process. Various Nigerians also have issues, right? They have different views. But the major thing is that all views came together to agree on a line item. And those line items are what we've both agreed, both the president and people that think alike with him, and people that have different views have come to a denominator, an equilibrium, that this document is as good as it is, and that's democracy for you. You understand? It's as good as it is, we can now sign it. It must not be swung to one side alone. We must try to carry everybody along, and that's why he's the president, to make sure that popular views that might not be good for the society because of the enthusiasm and the rush to do things the way we would have wanted it to be done. And that is why he's voted into office, to be calm, to look at it from another spectrum, that if we go this way, we might end up at a crossroad. But why don't we look at it from this angle and we all agree at a position? And that is what has happened. He has signed it. He has also raised an issue on, I think, Section 84. 84.12.
So that's the thing. He said, it's in conflict with extant constitutional provisions and deprives 7 political office holders from voting or being voted for at conventions or congresses at any political of any political party. But still, you are holding a position. You've not taken stock of what you've done so far, your gains, the gains you've recorded, and how much you've represented the people, in that particular position. You are eyeing another one.
Yeah.
So I think the reason why this provision is there in the first place is to ensure that you are focused, because look at the way we've been talking about 2023 general election since 2019. The moment the 2019 finished, we started having conversations about 2023, neglecting the essence of governance. Do you agree so? Well,
I will agree to a point and also depart from another point. If you look at the National Assembly, right, their activity is not meant to be full-time. It's meant to be part-time. But because of the exigencies on ground, people play it full-time. It does not presuppose that you should not have your business to run. It is only for the executive that they say that you must have resigned your business activity and all of that in order to have some level of concentration. But you also do have some extracurricular activities that we all engage in. So can't we say that political activities can also be an extracurricular activities that might not make you lose your sense of responsibility and focus? We do our church activities, we do our sporting activities, we do our social grouping activities, like people belong to Rotary Club, Lion Club, ISEC, and all whatnot. Does that make you lose your sense of concentration? We must try to prioritize our activity within 24 hours. I have an activity of 8 to 4 that I've signed with government, right? Now, what do I do from 4 to 12 p.m., 12 a.m., 1, 12 midnight, and all of this? Could I juggle my activities and be more productive to the society? But again, it's a debate for the Nigerian people to determine how they will be governed.
Well, I love the fact that you raised the issue of full-time or part-time, legislative, activities. Where do you stand precisely? Just like you said, you've made allusion to the extracurricular activities we did when we were in school and some other things we do, even while on the job, but they're not essentially what we do to represent the people. These are extra things that we do to satisfy ourselves. Would you consider legislative duties extra to the essence of governance, so much so that we'll now have them on a part-time basis rather than full-time?
My position would be either legislative or executive or any political appointees, you must have a second address. You must have business that you do in order to bring funds, you understand, to your livelihood. You must not concentrate on politics alone. This brings about corruption. If you have a second address on what you do, you limit your activity part-time to the operations of being elected into office and all of that, and you prioritize your things. Because if you don't allow people, under the circumstance that we find ourselves in Nigeria, to have a second address, then the focus more will be on what they can grab from their office in order to meet their insatiable wants and needs within the society.
Well, this Electoral Act has actually, also changed, is going to affect the way INEC is going to, operate, prosecute the 2023 elections. Looking at the change of dates now for presidential and governorship election and some other elections. Now we have, looking right in front of us, the Ekiti and Osun governorship elections. Do you think these Electoral Acts will be deployed for these elections? It
has been signed. It takes effect from the day it has been signed. So automatically it's going to be used. And that is why INEC quickly readjusted its calendar. So it's in operation already. And it gives the politician enough time to campaign and go all out there to sell their programs to their people.
Looking at the 2019 elections and the upcoming 2023 election, vis-a-vis what we used, the Electoral Act that we used then, before it was amended and became Electoral Act now that we use, that's operational 2022. What would you say once was, and now, ahead of the 2023 election, what do you expect the new Electoral Act to achieve, on a broader view now?
It will reduce a lot of malpractices, especially as it concerns rigging and, of course, movement of electoral results from one point to the other. You're talking about transmission, right? Immediately the results are casted. They are taken to the central operational server and all of that. It would take a very strong gig to try to manipulate what had happened. And also, they said that the results, the accredited numbers of the voters will be what will determine the result itself, not the numbers of voters on the voting list and all of that. These are things that also will improve what we have been, what has affected us in the past.
Well, this argument that you advanced, in support of the in support of the Electoral Act 2022, others might take another view, saying that it's a man-machine communication, garbage in, garbage out. It's what you give to the technology, to the computer, that is going to bring out for you. So you can manipulate the input so much so that you get the result, the desired result that you actually want. So do you still not think politicians, one way or the other, outsmarting the technology?
No, you have answered the question yourself from the beginning. What you put in is what you get out. Right. What you put in at the point of casting the votes is what you are going to get at the end of it, right? Remember that you are also going to have electoral umpires from different, electoral watchers from different political parties as agents. So of course, they are also writing it. They are monitoring what is happening, and everybody is looking at it. So the expectation is that what has gone is what you receive at the end of the day. I'm not saying that there's no possibility of people hacking and all of that. Even if they do hack, you still have the manual that have been written. So the manual that is there must be in concurrent with the electoral results. So it makes it very perfect.
Voter apathy is actually, has actually grown over the years. Talk from 1993, 1999, so on and so forth. That people say it is not possible for you to get free and fair election. It is not possible. It is what those who are in power actually want. Whoever they want are those people that they install in power. So do you think this will also help in reducing or sensitizing or making people become more aware that what they do now is what they are going to get at the end of the day, saying we have to vote and our vote counts? Would these change the mindset of the multitude? Let
me tell you that free and fair election start from participation, right? So it means that everybody must register. If you're of the voting age, go and get registered and have your voter's card. That is where free and fair elections start from. I will tell you that there are two incidences in our political history where we have had free and fair elections. The first one was during the June 12th. You understand, 1993 presidential elections. The second one was the 2007, I think, was it 2017 that the Buhari administration came in? 2014-15 and all of that. President Buhari defeated a sitting president that wanted to be re-elected. Just to punctuate what you have said, that you cannot have free and fair election to the extent that vote will count. And you also said because somebody is there, they can manipulate. No. Once the people are determined and they are registered, because the registration is key, even if you want to participate and all of that, if you don't have your card, it becomes very difficult, right? So what matters more is that the sitting president or the sitting administration do what the people want. If you don't do what the people want, then the people have the opportunity to vote you out during an electoral process.
Well, it is one thing for us to now have this Electoral Act, another thing for us to use it to the maximum. But still, nothing is perfect, they say. That's why one of the things that the president actually recommended is deleting section 8412. Still, what are the issues still that you think that INEC needs to address in these coming elections?
Well, the issue I'm looking at is to reduce the possibility of people going to the ballot box on the day of election so that people can vote with their phones. You can do mail voting. You have multiple opportunities or streams of casting your votes, right? That will reduce or remove the tendency of having thugs go snatch ballot boxes and all of that. That will also give confidence to the electorate that from the comfort of my bedroom, I can cast my votes. And that will increase voters' participation, right? It will also increase the voters' number. Then diaspora voting. INEC also need to work on diaspora voting so that Nigerians all over the world can also cast their votes. If we can do these two things, I can assure you that violence and money that are used to lure people to vote for them would have been a thing of the past.
Well, that really makes sense, I should say. But lastly, is it not an issue for you that we are having too many political parties now coming on the table?
No, it's not an issue.
It's not going to be very expensive for us
it's not expensive. Go to India. Do you know how many political parties are there in India? What you just need to do is alliances. In fact, we should even move to independent candidacy, making sure that we create good laws that will help independent candidates to come out. You might be an independent person. It might be difficult for you to win at the presidential level or the governorship level, but at the local government level, at the state assembly level, at the House of Reps level, a popular individual does not need a political party. You can win your election because of community participation. Your community already know you. They know what you've done. They watch you over time. they will cast their vote for you. And it reduces electoral spendings also. When some political parties are asking you to pay about 2 million, 3 million, you understand, for you to buy form, an independent person that is popular will use those funds to make publicity materials in order to avail people of their programs and to be voted for.
Right. Thank you very, very kindly for speaking to us on this issue. Organizing Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, Lagos State, Ayodele Adewale, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.